Okay, good. Well, good night to everyone. Welcome again to our second edition of Real Talk with our political leader, Dr. Thomson Fontaine, a world-renowned economist and a man who has done quite a lot for the region, sub-region, international, and elsewhere. He has been a consultant for many years, and his background, we have said that we have already made many enunciations with respect to this. Our program is geared at informing the general public via the social media platforms, and we hope that what we are sharing with you somehow inspires you and somehow is bringing the kind of information needed to make some real informed decision. As you all know, Dominica is in dire straits economically, and we have the right man at the helm with a good team who will find many ways to remedy our economic situation. So tonight's program, we will focus on the 10-point plan, as you know, but there are other areas, of course, we will be looking at. And so we are saying to you, just, relax, and it's something, it's an interactive program as well. So during the time that we allow the guest or guest to interact and to deliberate, you could post your questions and they will be forwarded accordingly. So I want to welcome everyone who is now tuning in. And I want to say, I hope everyone had a lovely weekend. We just had Breakfast Fete, which is an annual event. And Issa Bantan is the featured person with this fete. It has been going on for a couple of years now, and it has been a success. This year's event was again deemed a success, and many persons use that opportunity to come into Dominica. So it's a lot of economic happenings for our people, and we're happy for this event and many other events of such nature which can impact on the lives of people positively. So Dr. Thomson Fontaine will go straight into it. We may be joined by one of our other members. When he comes in, we will add him, but I think he'll be a little late. But we'll get straight into it. And so, Doc, I know we have been on the run with our 10-point plan and we have been around the island. So far, we have conducted 5 successful events or engagements, community engagements, as we would like it to be said. One in Rosenhof, we had one in Wesley, we had in Cassibus, we had in Grand Fork, and last week we had in La Plaine. And so far, the patrons, the constituents have been enjoying it. They have been asking questions. They are very much involved, and they are liking the 10-point plan. And to me, this is resonating, and this is bringing a clear message to the people of Dominica as to the vision of the United Workers' Party and where we are going. United Workers' Party Team Dominica is bent and poised on bringing economic restoration to this country. It has happened once under our watch, under the leadership of Honorable Edison James, bring the country from crisis to recovery. At this time, it is even more telling and more welcoming to have Dr. Fontaine at the helm to actually turn this economy around. And so, Doc, yes, I know that before we go into the gist of our discussion, I know that you have a matter before the court, though, and that I think because it's a public matter, the public has a lot of interest in it. And I'm sure you would like to at least apprise the public as to what is happening, where are we with this matter, because 25 persons were arrested, well, wrongfully arrested, and they were arrested and they were charged under the Riot Act. So where are we with this matter, particularly with you? I know the other members, have appeared in court and they have had the day. All of them have been on bail. But tell us, where are we with this?
All right, let me say good night to you, of course, and to our many listeners already, or viewers, I should say, that are tuned in. And just remind all of you that we are not only on Facebook, but we are also on YouTube. That's at Team Dominica, at UWP Team Dominica. That's our YouTube channel. And of course, on our website, uwp-dominica.com. Live streams. You can find us there. All right. So um, let me just say again what an honor it is to be doing. This is our second program, but the response has been fantastic, and we are very happy that people are tuning in. And tonight, even before we go into the meat of our discussion, I wanted to address the issue that Soso raised because it's a very interesting thing that's going on in the courts. And I'll just give a little bit of background. Actually, I'll talk about those two cases, but the first case has to do with, as you know, we were in court um, concerning this 2017 United Workers Party had a big protest action, and after that, myself, Honorable Lennox Linton, Honorable Edison James. So were you one of those that were arrested?
Oh no, I
No,
haven't
you're
had.
not arrested then,
Yeah.
right? Oh yes, Joshua Francis and Isaac, Joseph Isaac. We were all arrested. At the end of the day, myself, Mr. James, and Lennox, we were brought before the court. But interestingly, I had two cases, or two charges brought against me. I was charged with obstruction. They said I obstructed the police because I instructed people to sit on the road, uh, which was one charge. And then the second charge had to do with incitement, the same incitement charge that we saw. Okay, to draw a long story short, they divided those two cases. The obstruction case went through to the magistrate's court, and then the case for incitement went before the High Court. On the 20th of March this year, the 20th of February this year, after we got a chance to come before the High Court ruled that that was a frivolous case that was brought against us, against the three of us, and asked that the case be dismissed without the charges being read to us. Case was dismissed. But the judge in his ruling posed a very important point. He indicated in his ruling, the judge in his ruling indicated that we should have the judge in his ruling indicated that we should actually not have the government of Dominica, right? The ruling was to the extent that the government of Dominica should not pursue us, the three of us, in this matter. Right? So he put a complete stop to it. We took that decision and went back to the low court, to the magistrate court, and said, well, here is what the judge ruled, that this case it was stopped in the High Court, and that the lower court supposed to heed to this. The magistrate says, well, his case number was not mentioned specifically. My lawyer argued, but listen, the judge was very clear. This whole thing was frivolous, a waste of the court's time. It was malicious and had nothing to do with justice. And he indicated that the government of Dominica should not pursue us in any matter related to the events of 2017. The magistrate refused. He says the case must go on. So we found that to be extremely strange. So at that point, my lawyer says, well, he believes that the ruling of the High Court should supersede any ruling of the magistrate's court. And so he asked the magistrate to adjourn the case because he's going to take it back to the High Court, which is what we did. So we went back to the High Court and basically asking the High Court to instruct the magistrate to put an end to the obstruction case. The magistrate has now come back with a response to the High Court, and we are waiting a decision of the High Court. So that's where that is. I found it to be kind of strange. So it does appear that the government of Dominica is still interested in prosecuting me for something that the High Court was very clear should not go forward. All right, so that's where we are with this one. And of course, the other case that has to do with the March 19th events that took place when we were protesting for electoral reform. That particular case is going forward. We have made 2 appearances already in the magistrate's court. But we are now pursuing some measures through the High Court. So we are just filing some papers through the High Court. I can't give details of it as yet because the parties have not been served, but we are basically challenging the legality of the whole process. All right, so that's where we are with that second case.
Yes, and I know the public is very much interested in what is going on, and you know these matters usually call for a lot of funding because lawyers have to be paid to put matters together, whole case management aspect of it. And so we in times of these we normally ask the public to, you know, or we actually solicit funding on behalf of the public, or from the public, so that we could fund these events. And I don't know if you would like to share some link that persons who wish to continue to support, you know, democracy, promote democracy, and to, you know, stand for democracy in Dominica, because we are a democratic country. But it seems to me that this government, it appears to many that this government wants to take it to a level where they want to control people. And so the public generally, I mean, they have been very, very, very supportive in the past. And I know this time around, they have actually supported and they would like to support more. So do we have any information regarding, you know, links that people could support us through?
Yes, absolutely. And as you said, it is extremely costly. I mean, personally, it has cost me tens of thousands of dollars, lawyer fees and costs linked directly to this case. And of course, the other individuals that have been charged more recently. We have to get several lawyers involved, and that is extremely costly. The average high court case for prosecution is anywhere between $15,000 and $20,000. That's the average amount. So that gives you a sense as to how much it costs. And like you said, the public has been extremely responsive in the past, but we still have a long ways to go. We also have the issue of the CBI matter that has been pursued through the courts, and there is a hearing in September that is coming up in September. But individuals who are willing to contribute, they can do so through our website, uwp-dominica.com, uwp-dominica.com. And then there is a donation button. So you click on the donate button and you'll be able to do your donations that way. And just indicate that it's for the legal fund, because we do have a lot of legal avenues pursuing, because it does appear that it's a deliberate attempt by this government to imprison some of us, to put some of us, the leaders in particular, to put the leaders behind bars. I mean, I'm not taking this lightly. It is clear from what I have seen with our justice system that you really cannot even trust the justice system. And so we have to fight with everything that we have. Because let me just remind our listeners, in fact, that if we are convicted, that we could face 5 years in jail, minimum 5 years in jail. All right, that's how serious that is. So you're facing 5 years in jail without sending a stone, without sending a bottle, without hurting anyone. No one got hurt. No buildings were burnt. The only persons that received any kind of thing were people who the police fired, rubber bullets and tear gas. Yet we are the ones that have been brought before the court and could face up to 5 years in jail. So, it's a very serious matter, and we're taking it very seriously, and that's the reason why we are pursuing it so rigorously, and hence the reason why we are calling on the public for their support in that regard.
Yes, and I'm happy that you were able to share this with the public. And let me just, as we talk about that, let me thank the public for their generosity, and we ask God to continue to bless their finances, because they have been very supportive. And we know, by and large, Dominicans work hard for their money. Those in the diaspora, they have been very supportive. Those locally are very supportive. A lot of other persons have been very supportive. And so it is important that we recognize the good work that they do. They sweat for their monies, and we do appreciate the support. And we ask God's continued blessing upon each and everyone. While the political persecution continues, we have to be resolute. We have to stand resilient and resolute to fight this government. So let me just thank you again for just relaying this information, and we honor your courage and the others who have been faced with this political persecution. Well, Doc, as you can see, we have now joined with us Mr. Nept Packet, our former candidate for the Granby constituency, and he's with us. And just because it's his first time with us, I would just now like to open for him to just give a few brief remarks. Nep, good evening to you. I know it was a hectic day. I know you were in traffic, but you were able to make it. Thanks again. Just give us a brief intro there tonight to the audience.
Good evening, gentlemen. How is everybody?
Doing well. Good to
Very
hear you,
good.
man.
Good. Nice to hear you, man. Nice to hear you, man.
Y'all can hear me clearly?
Oh, I don't know if you're a Burger King, but you're strong.
Let me just say a good evening to our political leader, Dr. Thomson Fontaine, and to you, of course, Brother Soso, the man for Roso.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening to the guests tuned in via social media and the likes. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys tonight, and I'm always tuned in to everything that you guys do, the party does, and especially right now with what's going on with Dr. Fontaine and the strides that he's been making in the public. This is good times.
Yes, I do agree. This is good time. I mean, we have been out on the field. I mean, just seeing Dr. Fontaine interact with people, it's encouraging. The feedbacks are great. People are liking this, and it's just a pleasure to just be at least, squeezing hands, hugging, kissing, and just interacting with people within the various community. And I know, Doc, with the 10-point plan, I mean, that's what you have been doing.
Yes,
And we just cannot stop. So I think we need again, because I have two questions to ask Dr. Brother Nept, but I just wanted to lead on the whole question of how impactful do you feel, or in your own deliberate assessment of what has been going on so far, what has transpired so far? What do you
make? Man, I'm honestly, I'm pleased. Let's put it that way. I'm very much pleased with the response of the public. You saw it when we were in La Plaine last week, in La Plaine and the Laron area. You saw the people talking about it, persons that we met just casually on the street who had heard of the 10-pillar plan. And I think what that tells me is that the Dominican public are looking for something substantive. They're looking for something, for a way forward for this country. And I believe that they have found in the 10 pillars, they have found a possible way forward. And I think that is what is exciting about it. Because what the 10 pillar does is that it provides an opportunity to really take this country forward. But what is really exciting about this, and to me, what is so special about this, is the fact that we are moving forward together. It's about lifting everybody up. It's about ensuring that all of Dominica participates in this. And that, to me, is what is so special about the 10 pillars. Because if you notice, among the 10 pillars, we are talking about shared prosperity. That is the main idea, shared prosperity for all Dominicans. And we are pursuing that through looking at several measures, including the raising of the minimum wage, ensuring that our public servants, our hardworking teachers and police officers and fire officers and prison officers and nurses, that these individuals who are committing themselves to this country day after day, that they get their just compensation. And so that is what I believe is a lot exciting about this. And of course, the farmers, as we saw in La Plaine, when we shared some ideas, or people were sharing with us what happened in the past, we saw the fields, just the number of plantain and banana fields that are just there. The fruit is ripening.
Yes.
Fruit ripening and falling on the ground.
Yes.
Because there are no markets. There are not enough markets. We have a very small market that we have opened up. And I say we, I mean the United Workers' Party has opened up very small market. Now we take about 2 tons of fruit, a ton of dashing every week. But at least that's a ton. We've done 11 weeks so far. So you're talking about 11 tons of dashing that we've lifted out of those areas. But that is the list of farmers I have a list of about 15 farmers every week, and we try to spread it around and be as fair as possible. But that's just a small amount. There is so much that's going to waste. And that's the other important thing about these 10 pillars. It speaks to the heart of agriculture. It speaks to revamping of the agriculture sector. It speaks to putting our farmers back to work. It speaks to bringing monies back into the pockets of our banana farmers and of our dashing farmers and of our citrus farmers. And that to me is what is good about these 10 pillars. It offers hope to the people of Dominica. And the people are responding positively. They are responding in a way that it has gone beyond our wildest expectations, but we're happy about it. We're happy that we can offer something tangible to the Dominican public. It shows that we are thinking about the way forward. It shows that we are passionate about the future of this country. And we believe that UWP Team Dominica is the future of Dominica and is the way forward for this country.
And Doc, it is very interesting because from time to time, you have been tried, tested, and proven that you can actually get results. You are not in government, but you are able to do quite a lot of planning. You put together a plan, then you implement that plan, and now the plan is in action and being monitored. Just you are not even in government, and see what you could do. I mean, you have had that program before in a larger proportion, but continue, and you can show that you can move things even without in government. So I don't want to see when you are in charge of the public's purse, what you will do for the people of Dominica. What you have to say about that? Because it's interesting. It's appalling.
The thing about it, I think what I think sets me apart, say, from this current prime minister, is a genuine love for the people of Dominica, and love in the sense that you want to see your people move forward. I want to see the smiles brought to the faces of the farmers when they open up that pay packet, when they can go back to days of making $3,000-$4,000 a week. I want to see that. I have a genuine interest in seeing that. Our persons, our NEP workers get more than they're getting right now. Our nurses, our lawyers, even our medical doctors working for the government, nurses and police officers and teachers and all of these government workers, that when they put in the hard effort, that they get their just reward. And I think that is the motivation. That is what, compels me as the leader of the United Workers' Party, Team Dominica, to continue like this, because I see a great future for Dominica. I see a future in which we can use the resources for which this country is blessed in abundance, our water, our land, our people, use our resources to build our country for ourselves. We have wasted 25 years under the Labour Party government, and now is the time, I believe, for us to really put Dominica on a trajectory of growth and development. And it's an exciting time, and I'm just excited to be part of that process and to have a great team, working with and doing the planning and doing the strategizing. So it's a really exciting time for me.
Yes, thank you very much. And so, Nep, we are getting back to you. I mean, there's much talk about youth empowerment and retention, and we understand the importance of getting, young people to be gainfully employed and to use their productive life into building the nation. What is your view with relation to youth empowerment and the ability to contribute to nation building with the required skill set for growth and development? What do you make of this? Because it's part of the 10 pillar anyway.
Oh man, that is a brilliant question. And just to reiterate, I really love this 10 pillar framework that Dr. Fontaine proposed for the development of Dominica, because if one takes time to look at all these pillars, you can see how every pillar from 1 to 12 integrates with one another and supports each other moving forward. So it creates sort of a holistic view, a holistic vision for the development of the country. And the specific youth empowerment and retention pillar is no different than the others. They're all intermingled and intertwined. if we want Dominica to truly prosper, we need to see the youth of Dominica as partners in nation building and not a problem. You know, uh, there's international research from the United Nations Development Program and International Labor Organization that shows that when young people are equipped with market relevant skills such as digital literacy, renewable energy technology, agribusiness, and entrepreneurship, like Dr. Fontaine has uh, vehemently mentioned when speaking about the 10 pillars, they are more likely to stay and invest and innovate in their own country.
Oh yes, certainly, and I think that is very important because I mean, once the whole idea of entrepreneurship is incentivized and young people can see their way forward, I think it would be interesting that they go. But coupled with that though, for the past time, because the atmosphere in Dominica is somewhat because of the economic situation, a lot of people, young people, are also idle, and there's much talk about job prevention initiatives and developing appropriate response mechanisms to actually deal with crime and violence at schools and other areas where young people populate or where they associate or where they socialize. Do you believe that enough is being done to address these issues, and can you point to some areas you believe can help improve the situation as we speak?
Uh, yeah, growing up myself, I used to be a part of uh, several initiatives to fight against drugs and crime with the Youth Development Division and youth groups that myself and others in Granby created. So I think that is a very integral issue where young people are concerned. But in plenty cases, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. You know, organizations like the World Health Organization and UNICEF stress that effective solutions are preventative, community-based, and holistic. We should seek to implement these kinds of solutions and support them. You know, support them vehemently with finance and the human resource element as well. I'll just give you an example. In Jamaica, there's a peace management initiative that helps with violence reduction by including after-school programs, mentorships, family engagements, and that sort of thing. And it helps to reduce crime by providing the young people with positive alternatives and strong models. So we can sort of implement these kind of programs in Dominica with, I guess, the expansion of sports, arts programs, uh, the increasing school-based counseling, and maybe train teachers to spot early signs of trouble in the youth. You know, uh, this will lead the conversation and help them to make healthier choices in their own life, critical thinking, and one critical area I think we should focus on is instead of seeking to punish the youth, we should seek to rehabilitate them. You know, there are situations where we have some young people who are already offenders or engaged in criminal activity and so forth. We should create an environment of rehabilitation for them to help them reintegrate into society rather than, push them away. So we combine prevention, education, support, and we can help build a better youthful generation that chooses instead peace and productivity instead of crime, violence, or drugs. You know.
Very well said. Very well said. And you are talking in relation to giving option, and that's very important. From the stream dog, and from what the question, I'm going to ask you two questions that we will ask here. One is, will there be a coconut and citrus replanted program? Take note. And the other one is that the reconfirmation process will be starting very soon. How it is that we are going to approach to get our supporters ready for this process? And I know too, I would like you to make this clarification as well when you're responding, because when the legislation of Electors Act, when that came out about, I believe the whole idea of of registration, normal new registration, it is stipulated that there should be ID cards, but I don't think reconfirmation actually spoke of actually ID cards. I'm also hearing from the grapevine that there may be an amendment made that will allow reconfirmation to have ID. So when in your response, I would like you to make that clarification or clarify, because to be honest, I've not seen any new I've not seen any let's say amendment or new document come out with respect to what was initially posted. So I don't know if you are aware of that, but the person would like to know what is it that we are doing about reconfirmation.
All right, so I'm going to take the question of reconfirmation first, and then, or rather say, well, really confirmation. The legislation is that you have to confirm your name on the list. We were told by the electoral office that process, they did a press release and indicated that they would begin on the 1st of September. This past week, we were in touch with the electoral office. We were informed that they're still working to get the full complement of workers, the enrollment officers. They're also working to get they have to train those enrollment officers, and before they're ready to the confirmation, because part of the confirmation process is that once you confirm your name, you'll be issued with an ID card, a voter ID card, and the enrollment officers will be the ones taking the pictures and ensuring that the voter ID card is prepared for you. So they're still working on that. The other thing is the legislation, as you rightly pointed out, so did not indicate that what method would be used when you're confirming.
Yes.
And so we would expect an announcement from the Electoral Commission that will give some clarity on this particular issue. So for instance, when you come to register as a new registrant, you can register with a birth paper and an affidavit. You bring somebody that confirms that you are the person on your birth certificate. So a number of persons who have registered as voters have used that method. Their birth paper and somebody, usually someone from the village or the constituency, that can vouch for them. I know that there have been talk about different types of IDs and so on to be used. Mark you, this was not in the legislation. So we still have to get from the electoral office exactly what means of ID will be employed. I'm hoping, and it's my hope, that they would use the same process that they use for registration as far as identifying you. Let's hope that's what they do, in which case it will be a lot easier for many people who do not have IDs. Either they don't have a government-issued ID and so on. So we'll see what happens. But what we are doing as a party, as we go around this country, we are reminding our supporters over our radio programs like these and so on. We continue to remind our supporters that it is absolutely important that when the confirmation process begins, that they ensure that they confirm their name on the voters list. If you're not confirmed on the voters list, your name will be removed. And if your name is removed from the voters list, then you have to go back for the registration process. All right, so we just want to encourage you to do that. We, again, do not know. We're just about 2-3 weeks shy of the 1st of September. From where I am, it is very doubtful that we will start on the 1st of September. But again, I'll leave this up to the electoral office, since they're the ones responsible for it. We hope to hear from them soon. We hope for a public notice. If they're not able to meet the deadline of the 1st of September, it's up to the electoral office to inform the public in enough time. So we hope that that information will be forthcoming from them. But let us just assure the Dominican public and our supporters that we're doing everything possible to inform our supporters. We do not know what ID will be used as yet. All right. Once that is done, then we have 1 year, a full year minimum to do the confirmation process. So once the enrollment officers are in place, the electoral office is ready to go, then we'll ensure that we reach out to every household, all of our supporters, to make sure that the name remains on the voters list as long as they're alive and they're eligible to vote.
Oh yes, and so there was a second question that was asked about whether or not we will be looking towards revamping the coconut industry and the citrus industry. Remember that as we speak, and the last budget, there is no program going on with respect to either coconut breeding, or you have germplasm of cocoa and whatever, and you have nothing like about citrus rehabilitation or new plantings and so. So the caller or the texter or the person viewing via social media would like to be informed about whether or not we'll be going on that road where we'll have planting materials available with cocoa and citrus. But if I'm notwithstanding that we have been ravaged by the citrus greening disease.
All right, that's a very good question. And the way I want to answer this is to assure the caller or the person asking the question that we we are building the plan, okay? And the way we are doing this is that we're bringing together a core group of agriculture specialists, persons who have the experience, who have the knowledge, who can put together the plan. So in terms of the actual mix, in terms of whether it's coconut, whether it is bananas, whether it is citrus, whether it is essential oils, those types of details is best to not reveal them right now because they're still in the works. But I can guarantee you, I can assure you that with regards to agriculture, the plan is to have an agriculture that is smart in the sense that we're not only going to be selling our raw material, but we are going to be adding value. So at the heart of the 10 pillars is to add value to the agriculture product. So if we decide, for example, to go into citrus, we will do so with the intention of having 2 to 3 factories producing juices. All right. If we decide to focus on bananas, we want to ensure that we have a factory that can do something with bananas, or we can do cassava. If you're doing cassava, for example, we can go big time, as they have done in Nigeria, go big time into the production of flour. All right. So you have different aspects to it, but at the heart of the plan is to make sure that you have a strong agro-processing aspect to your agriculture, because we are not a big country. And if you notice, when we were successful with bananas, that's practically all that we produced. We were largely, practically everybody was into bananas, right? Because we simply do not have luxury of space. We don't have a lot of land to plant. So if you're going to do it, it has to be done in a smart way. And part of that smart planning is to have that linked to agro processing. But the details of it as to what percent will be in citrus, what percent in bananas, what percent in the coconuts, we'll leave that for the experts who are now crafting that specific plan.
Yeah, very well said, and very, very good response. And we have not departed from big government spending and the high expenditures that have been incurred by this government. And a caller or someone is asking a question, but what are you going to do? And this is the term of the person, the goat's bloated payroll in respect to residents of 64,000 a month paid by the state, reduction in cabinet, and reduction in number of government vehicles, and probably generally cost-saving measures. Because I know you've mentioned this, but again, as we go forward in explaining the 10-pillar plan, I believe it is important that people want to hear it over and over again, that we are serious about cutting down government expenses. Where do we go from there?
Yes, absolutely. Any serious plan to go into these 10 pillars must focus not only on revenues, attracting more revenues, which is what we plan on doing, but we also have, as part of our plan, we also have the whole idea of doing tax reforms, and those tax reforms could lead to some reductions in government revenues. So we have to look at other areas where we can cut waste. Right. So we know that, for example, this, as you mentioned, the 64,000 minimum amount that is spent on residence for a prime minister, that will go out the window. We also have a number of individuals who served, for example, as for ministers, their special positions were created for them. And in practically every single case, those special positions, they're making a lot more money than the average public servant. Persons who are career public servants have devoted themselves. Government should not be there to reward politicians. You know, that should not be the sole function of government. And it seems to me that's what this government is doing, rewarding politicians. I think people should come into government to serve and understand that's what they're doing. It's a service to country. And that's the way it should be approached, and should not think that you have any kind of entitlement from government. So we'll be looking to see where we can cut the fat out of government. And one of the ways that we've spoken about in the past is, of course, to reduce the size of the cabinet. There are 18 plus, I believe, 6 or 7 cabinet members. That can be reduced drastically. And we have given the commitment that we'll have no more than 9 or 10 ministers of government. That already is a significant saving that will be realized. Then you have the cost. We see, for example, government vehicles are being used at nighttime. You see GAs all over the country being used at different times. Obviously, that's not when government is working. These are individuals using government property for their own personal needs. That needs to be stamped out completely. You can save quite a lot in terms of repair costs, which are extremely costly. You can also save a lot in terms of gas and diesel. Right? So all of those areas you can cut. You also have to look at how you can consolidate government operations. You also have to look at how you can cut down on your consumption of electricity. Government incurs hundreds of thousands of dollars in electrical costs or in cost of electricity every month. You have to see how you can cut this down through, for example, probably the introduction of solar systems and all the rest of it. So there are lots of different ways that you can cut the waste that we see in government. We'll undertake to do so in a very responsible manner, in a manner that does not necessarily disenfranchise anyone, but what really safeguards the purse, government's purse, really safeguards the resources of government, and ensure that we're able to do so in a very dependable and a very open and transparent manner. But that is the commitment we're giving to the public of Dominica, that the United Workers' Party, Team Dominica, will ensure that the waste in government is cut to a bare minimum, and to realize as much savings as possible that can then be channeled into those different programs that we're looking to develop.
Yes, thank you very much, and well said. I'll get back to you on a question being asked, but let me get to NEPT, because before I go to NEPT, let me just ask the public to continue to support us. We have a raffle going on for a NOAA. Someone has a chance to win a NOAA television and some other item I cannot remember right now, but you can support us. Those of you in the diaspora, you can just purchase a book through one of your family members. It's just $250 a book. And so, you may want to win it, and if you win it, you'll come down to claim it, but you may just be supporting us, so we would appreciate that. And also for some of you who continue to, fund the court matters, we would expect you to get in contact with our office and to make your contributions when necessary. NEP, let me just say, in the past, South City Granby has been, marked and has been known for being a community of culture. In fact, at one time I thought to myself, and in my humble opinion, Granby was called, or could be called, the epicenter of culture. And we have seen all that sort of dwindle. I mean, East Side is doing a good thing now. We've seen the recent, promotion of Wetfed, and, we're starting to see, it playing out. But also, too, Granby was an area where farmers could actually, from the Makato area and the Vibois area to go to get their planting materials, because Granby had a agricultural station. It is no more, because most of the lands were taken to do housing expansion. Nothing wrong with that. But the point is, if you are taking land somewhere, you should replace it so that the farmers could have access. And so the community continues to struggle agriculturally. Do you think that, in your own opinion and how you see it, and the willingness of farmers, that we can bounce back as a community, a farming community in Granby? Do you see that as potentially something that could reoccur because Grand Bay used to do very well, notwithstanding the size of land that the farmers worked at the time. But they used to do very well, and you have some good soils, good productive soils in Grand Bay. So do you still feel and confident that the Grand Bay people can get back, especially as we talk about young entrepreneurs, young people getting back into the system? There's a situation where you have the old heads and we need a replacement of new face or new strength in agriculture. Do you see a possibility of that happening?
I mean, with this 10 pillar system, this 10 pillar program that Dr. Fontaine is proposing and the United Workers Party is proposing, I most definitely see that happening. Much like many other communities in Dominica, Grand Bay has a plethora of, how do you say it, arable soil, soil where that is conducive to agriculture and crop production and farming on a whole. So I most definitely see that happening. And also with the integration of new farming technology and farming practices, yeah, we can most definitely do that.
Yes, and that is true because I just over the weekend I spoke to two individuals I knew who were involved in farming in the Makato area. Because I worked in Grand Bay as an extension officer, and I was very much involved in working in the Grand Bay people. In fact, we had irrigation in Grand Bay. We had 1 or 2 plus irrigated, and they were telling me, well, look, they are tired now. The lands are there, the road system, the filler roads are in a sort of dilapidated situation, and so access is a problem. And even if some of them were willing to go get back, there's not much they can do. Some of their children are willing to get back to their farm or family member, but the point is, it's just heart wrenching when you see the road, and in that that can affect quality a lot. So I'm happy to know that Grand Bay can revive, and I'm very much confident with our plan for agriculture, the revitalization of agriculture, that Dominica will certainly bounce back. We need foreign exchange. That's one of the ways that we can do it. I don't think generally that we're saying that agriculture is going to be to do everything. No. Once we
Yeah,
have a diversified economy, then I
yeah.
believe it is possible that we can get there.
And I mean, just to add to what you're saying, with respect to Grand Bay as well. I mean, we, I mean, you being a student of agriculture, and I'm sure someone who engages in agriculture, we know what sustainable agriculture is.
That's correct.
And I mean, yeah, and apart from it being sustainable, we can produce to the point where we can feed ourselves and feed the Caribbean, and even more than likely export to the world market. Where I'm currently right now in uh in America, in the United States, I've noticed that there's a high demand for our agricultural produce, specifically like dashing, banana, those the ground provision type produce. Can you imagine if we could break into a market like that where we started exporting our stuff or ground produce to America? I went to a supermarket, H Mart, sometime this week, and I saw Kenip.
Wow.
I saw breadfruit.
Kenny,
Yeah, I saw salmon. I saw a whole bunch of stuff that is unique to our part of the world as well. And I figured, but hey, I got a slice of home right there. You know what I mean? So it's not like there isn't a need or a want for what Dominica can supply agriculturally. There's also a growing need for organic agricultural produce and regenerative farming. That is something we can definitely engage in under this 10 pillar plan, you know. And I mean, organic markets, premium organic markets for local and export is something we should look into, I believe. And areas like Granby can be a huge hub for, for that side of it, I think.
Yeah, great. And I'm happy that you said that because, that's one of the things that we spoke about with respect to turning our primary products into secondary product by way of value added.
Yeah.
And it's important that right now, as we speak, a lot of lands have been left fallow for many years. Even now, I could say Dr. Something's in that probably they could get honorary or just automatic certification, organic certification. You have, they have been they have been there for so
That's
many
right.
years doing many
That's
things.
right.
So I don't think
Yes,
that's too
yes,
much of a
indeed.
problem for certifying them. But Doc, I know you have been talking about, with respect to the 10 pillar, about education and the skill set required to move our people forward. In fact, you yourself at the constituency level in your constituency, you have been engaged with respect to providing training for skill for persons with for necessary skills like plumbing, electricals, and so electricity and so. And here it is that a question come about and says, Dr. Fontaine, in the area of education, what will be the priorities in regards to teachers' professional development? And what are the plans for our education and skilled Dominicans to return home to contribute to the country's development?
I love this question because education, as an educationist myself, I taught for many years here in Dominica, both at the SMA and at the Sixth Form College, and so I have a great love for education, and I believe that any country that's going to progress must have at the heart of this a good education system, and so we'll ensure that we have a focus on mathematics and the different subjects, agriculture, that can really artificial intelligence, those types of and also languages to ensure that our students are bilingual. I believe that Dominicans should be bilingual. We should be learning French and Spanish from the primary school so that by the time we graduate high school, every Dominican speak two languages fluently. So I believe in that, and I believe that part of that, and to accomplish that, you must have the trained teachers to do it. So an education system that has the kind of training that goes with it is vital, and that's where persons living overseas can come in. Dominicans who have those skill sets, because as we begin to open up the country, as we begin to create new jobs and new opportunities, people will want to come into Dominica. And I have a very firm belief, and that is part of what we believe as far as the 10 pillars are concerned, that for it to succeed, it must have a very strong input of the Dominican diaspora. All right, so we'll be focusing on getting our Dominican diaspora to come with their skill sets. We don't only want to welcome them after they have retired, when they're in their 60s and 70s. We want them back in their 40s and early 50s, where they can actually contribute in a meaningful manner towards the development of the country. And so the 10 pillar plan has room for the diaspora. It has room for an education system that is excellent, that is geared towards excellence, an education system that qualifies and trains our young people for the workplace. So it is a holistic plan. And the more Dominicans here is the more they will understand that the 10 pillars is holistic. We are not leaving any area out. We're talking about the social aspect of it, which we'll talk to next week. So next week, Monday, we're going to spend some time on talking about the social
Oh, definitely.
for our
Definitely.
elderly and
Yes.
those in need in our country. We'll spend some time talking about that, because that is also important. But as far as education is concerned, as far as the Dominican diaspora are concerned, we want them back. We want our people back building our country. We want our people here in Dominica working to rebuild this country. And we have trained Dominicans in every single area around the world. And we believe that if we have the right attraction of wages, if they have good wages, the same way they leave Dominica in their thousands to go to St. Martin and to St. Kitts and so on, these same individuals will stay in Dominica, lovely Dominica, to build this country.
Well, I'm happy that you said so because, over the years you have been talking about it. Team Dominica, United Workers Party have been talking about it with respect to, tapping on the resource of our diasporans. Many of them are well trained and they are in different spheres of life. They have many of them have diverse backgrounds, and we can hinge on their expertise to get things done for our country. And as we say, another question is coming in. I'm going to read it, but just before that, I know we are the foresight of opening many new lands and opportunities for people to build and to get into agriculture. Case in point, for example, we had the Warner Jimmy Road that opened up a lot of a new horizon where you had a lot of residential housing coupled with agriculture enhancement, and also too the Petit Savan Road, linking Daly's Petit Savan Road. And there's that question now. Someone is asking, will the UWP open this road? Because as we know, as we speak, this road is closed.
That's a no-brainer, as we say, right? This road was built by the United Workers' Party.
That's correct.
And it was built for a very simple reason: needed to open up another avenue. Bear in mind, without the Petit Savan Road, the only thing linking the entire southeast, talking about the villages of Grand Fort, River Civic, Mont John, La Plaine, Boudica, Delices, the only link we have is a 50-foot by 10-foot bridge across the Rosalie River. God forbid if that is swept away, the entire thousands of Dominicans are cut out from the rest of the island. So it made sense to build that connection so that in case that link there is, for whatever reason, is disturbed, then you have an outlet. And so it is mind-boggling that up to now, the government, after 10 years, have not seen it fit to rebuild the road. We had promises it will be done in a few weeks. We are still waiting. It has not yet been done, much to the, I believe, to the shame of this government. They have not been able to do this. So in the Workers' Party team, Dominica will do this. We'll also, another road this government has been fighting for many years is the road between Rosalie and
Soufrière. Yeah,
that's about 2 miles of road. Government cannot build in 25 years. The Labour Party government has not been able to build 2 miles of road to connect the fishing community. And that's a big fishing community there. Good Hope, Saint Sauveur, Petit Soufrière. Connect these areas to the thousands of potential customers just down the road. All right. Imagine if that road were open, you can actually walk from Grand Fort to Petit Soufrière to buy fish and be back home in less than an hour, 2 hours. All right. So we will also ensure that this road is opened up. All right. And if it means taking an alternative route, there are enough lands there that can be opened up, because part of the opening of that road again will be to open up new agricultural lands. Because a promise that we've made under the 10 pillars is that as we seek to develop agriculture, we'll be opening up new lands. And the avenue that links Rosalie with Petit Soufrière will allow that opportunity to open up new lands for agriculture, new lands for farming, but more importantly, we'll put those fishing villages in touch with a lot more market for their fish in the areas of the southeast.
Yes, and I know we are about to wind down because this is only an hours long program. But before I ask you gentlemen to give your respective closing remark, I just want to say, while we speak about agriculture, it is not just about focusing on crop production. We also think it is important that we have livestock development to boost and to bloom the fisheries industries, and to ensure that we can do even aquaculture. We had prawn farming some time ago happening, and to make sure that we, in some measure, mechanize agriculture by using some small farm implements. All these are things, but as we say, it's a framework, and we'll be putting all these things together in a package so that when we come out big so that we can be productive. So one more question before we ask for the closing remarks. Dr. Fontaine, in recent times, we have not seen much foreign direct investments. And, a country, to me, cannot move without that, some aspect of that. And person has a question regarding, but what is it? What has happened? Where are we going with a country without attracting foreign investment and bringing in much needed foreign direct and foreign exchange earnings to this country? So I know you have your expertise largely in that, and you have worked in countries where this is a big thing. So tell us about it.
So foreign direct investment is critical in particular for your private sector. And one of the shortcomings of this government has been its inability to grow the private sector. Government is the largest employer, and that has all sorts of implications. People are afraid to talk freely because they have a job with the government. If the 90% of the workforce was in the private sector, there would not be that concern. Government has too much of a large footprint in terms of employing people. The way you attract persons is to have businesses, either domestically or from the diaspora, come into your country. So, as part of the liberate policy, as we begin to look at constructing the agro processing factories to do our flour, to do our juices, to do our water, as we begin to do that, we'll be opening up the country for foreign direct investment. We'll be able to identify areas where persons who have an interest can come and offer them incentives to do so. So it's an incentive system that must be set up to attract foreign investors into your country. And so we'll be developing a package of incentives that will be attractive to individuals, including Dominicans who have the means to come into Dominica and invest, because we believe that it's important to grow the private sector. We want to see many, many more businesses operating and flourishing in Dominica. And this can be done without the direct intervention of government. It can be done with private money. And that is the focus. And that is where we will be headed. And so we will see on the United Workers' Party Team Dominica, we will see a major influx of foreign businesses and businessmen into Dominica, because there will be money to be made out of this country as we develop our products, as we develop our essential oils, oil market, as we develop our agro-processing industry, as we develop our water industry, as we develop our cultural industries, our entertainment industry. As we develop those, we'll be able to attract the kind of capital that will be able to sustain this forward movement. And so that is the promise that we're giving to our people, that as part of a bigger plan to improve on and increase the size of the private sector to create additional jobs, we will be able to attract more foreign direct investment into Dominica.
Yes, so gentlemen, as we near closure to this program, I would just, and the whole idea of the 10-pillar plan and the results to actually bring about shared prosperity for our people, where our people can live happily, above average, and to eradicate, poverty, because by and large, we have indigence in our country. I mean, many reports have revealed that we have a level of indigence, very, very poor. And knowing that, the 10-pillar plan is some plan to actually resuscitate people's life and to impact positively on people's life. I would just like probably Nep to have your closing remarks followed by the political leader. Nep, are you there?
Thank you. Thank you, Brother Soso. Thank you.
No problem.
I mean, Dr. Fontaine has said a mouthful, and I swear I could just sit there all night and listen to this man elaborate and talk about his plans for Dominica, and never lose my sense of excitement.
Nice.
But just to reiterate on what the questions you asked me and what I spoke about, we cannot go wrong by investing in the young people of Dominica, and we need to do that through innovation and through skills, as Dr. Fontaine and yourself mentioned, and which is a critical part of the 10-pillar program, and real earning power. This is a critical element. Earning power. We have a serious problem in Dominica with the wage situation, and Dominicans are not earning enough for living. So when we can provide those elements, we are basically creating a pathway where young people can can shape the very future of Dominica and help build an economy that works for everyone, powered by our own talent and skills. You see how beautiful this 10 pillar program is? I just can't get enough of it, man. But yeah, that in closing, I just want to say thank you for having me on the program, and I look forward to doing this again
Oh, certainly,
with
certainly.
my colleagues right here tonight.
Certainly. Dr. Fontaine?
Well, Nept, it was great having you, of course, and thank you so much, for this. You as a young person yourself, having put yourself forward in politics, you contested 2 elections for UWP in the Grand Bay constituency. I want to thank you for your service to country, and we want more like you in Grand Bay, in Petit Savan, in Soufriere, in Castrebros, around Dominica. We want more young people like yourself to step forward, in service of country, and to do it out of a genuine interest, do it out of a genuine love for country. All right, and not necessarily for any kind of gain, but because they love their country and they want to give back to the country. And I've seen in you a great desire to sacrifice and to give for country. And I want to thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your involvement. I saw persons were asking tonight whether or not you can be more involved. You are currently overseas, just from the watching the viewing public. You're currently overseas. You're not in Dominica, but I'm sure you will continue to play your part in terms of reaching out, in terms of just talking to the young people in the Grand Bay constituency. And for our part, Team Dominica, we will be in Grand Bay sometime in the not too distant future. We understand that there are a number of persons who want to talk to us, who want to interact with us. So we'll make ourselves available to go to Grand Bay and be able to sit, and talk to the people in Fontaine and in Tetmon and in the different parts of Grand Bay. So
Indeed,
I'm looking personally, I'm looking forward to that, to being able to be there in Grand Bay and to be able to sit and have a great discussion with the wonderful people of Grand Bay. So on that note, I just want to say a big thank you to you,
Yes.
for the great job you did tonight and just kind of steering the conversation, for the many persons who have been with us and just the tremendous support that we are getting online. It is remarkable, the number of persons who are viewing this podcast and who are tuned in and who have stayed throughout the program. A big thank you to all of you. And to those of you at home, and those of you who will be viewing this podcast in the future, join us again on Monday. We'll be doing that every Monday as we talk about issues that are pertinent to the development of Dominica, issues that will help our country grow, issues that will help you grow as an individual and help us move up as a nation. And so we have a lot more to offer, a lot more to discuss, a lot more to talk about. We'll be on our parties program this Thursday, of course, from 7 to 8 on radio and
8 to 9.
online. 8 to 9,
Yeah,
sorry, 8 to 9, yeah,
Yeah.
8 to 9 on Thursday. Will be on Q95 and also on social media. But I just want to say thank you again, to all of you, and to remind you also, we need your support. Okay, we are doing a lot of work now on the ground. We are going to the various communities. We are engaging the people where they are in their homes on the ground. We need your support. We have the court cases that are pending over our heads as the government tried to distract us and to jail us. We are looking to free Dominica. They're looking to jail us, but we'll overcome that, definitely. But we need your support, and the way you can support us is by going to uwp-dominica.com, and then you click on the donation button and feel free to donate if you would like to do it on a monthly basis, whether it's $10 a month, $20 a month, $30 a month, whatever it is that you can contribute towards us, the United Workers Party Team Dominica. You'll be able to do the recurring payment. So you can just set it up and don't even think about it. But every month, your support will be going a long way to ensuring that we can do what we need to do to ensure that the United Workers Party Team Dominica become the next government of Dominica. That is what we are striving towards. That is where we're headed. And that is where we need your support to help us get to that point. So may God continue to bless all of us. And I just want to wish everyone a wonderful rest of the Monday night.
Yes,
God
and
bless.
let me say thank you for you two gentlemen who participated in tonight's program, and for those who participated online, and for the many questions being asked and the responses given. Let me say thank you for participating. Until next time, next week, I'm your host. I was your host, Derek Glenroy Coffee or Soso Coffee. Until next time, next Monday, we'll be back again to informing you of the developments for Dominica, for better Dominica, so that you and I and everyone else will enjoy. Have a good night. Thank you again.
Thank you. God bless.
God bless, gentlemen. Good night.
Good night.